Good afternoon, world and YouTube. My name is Ryan and I'm with Concept Survival. Today I'm here to discuss an often overdone yet poorly executed subject in the bug out bag. Now, to give you a brief history of my experience, and it is real world experience, I've been an avid hiker and backpacker for the last 22 years. Most of my experience has taken place in the Southwest, which would be California and Arizona. Now, as of right now, I have quite a bit of time with living with what's on my back. So I do have some experience that I would like to pass on to you, or more importantly, give yourself a little bit of critical thinking skills before you decide to construct a bug out bag. Devising a strategy to make your own bug out bag, there are 5 basic concepts that you always need to keep in the back of your mind. Those 5 concepts are shelter, water, food, conservation of energy, and of course, keeping it simple. If you keep those 5 concepts in the back of your mind when you're constructing your bug out bag, you'll probably have quite a bit of success. Now, let's describe these 5 concepts. The first one is shelter. The quickest thing that will kill you in a wilderness survival situation is succumbing to exposure. That means you're not maintaining your body temperature. You're freezing to death or you're overheating. So we've got to maintain core body temperature. The second thing we need to worry about is water. You can actually survive several days without water. Well, it is a nice convenience and I would like to have some, so that's probably the second biggest thing that I'm going to put on my list in order of priorities. The third thing that I'm going to worry about is food. I can go a very long time without food, even though I'm relatively thin in stature. I can still go at least a week. The fourth thing that I have to worry about is conserving energy. That is making my life as easy as possible. The fifth thing that I'm going to think about is keeping it simple. I've seen several examples of bug out bags where people find a way to complicate things way more than they need to. Well, folks, I'm here to give you a critical thinking exercise and discussion that you can basically take that knowledge and put it into building your own bug out bag. Now, I've seen several videos on YouTube, of course, with people giving or dispensing advice on how to build a bug out bag, yet I can tell from my real world experience that they have no wilderness experience whatsoever, especially not with living more than 1 night or 2 days with what's on their back. Now, I'm going to basically discuss the big red flags that I see with my experience and things that you should watch out for and at least think about when you build your bug out bag. The first big red flag that I see when I'm watching people build their bug out bags is I see very few people putting a tent and a sleeping bag into their bug out strategy. Now, a lot of people I've seen complain about weight. Well, guess what, folks? A 2-person tent and a sleeping bag will maybe weigh 10 pounds, and that's not even going lightweight yet. Now, to give you a very vivid example of the difference between carrying a sleeping bag and a tent in your bug out bag versus carrying your Mylar blanket and building a lean-to when you get to your bug out location. Now, let's play this scenario out. Person A has a tent and a sleeping bag. Person B is the rough and tumble type. These 2 people have to go roughly the same distance over the same terrain. Let's make it, 10 miles. Well, guess what? When these 2 people head out to their bug out location, the person with the tent and the sleeping bag are going to have to expend an additional 23 to 25 calories to carry that 10 pounds of weight. Now, as you'll see very soon, and mathematically, you will see that the person that carried that weight and is at that deficit, that goes away very, very quickly. Now, just looking in a essence of time, the person with the tent and the sleeping bag, when they get to their bug out location, they will have their tent set up and their sleeping bag unrolled in less than 20 minutes. Person B, on the other hand, will have to A, find wood for their shelter, B, build the lean-to, and that takes about an hour of physical activity. I've done it. It is a pain in the butt. Now, it doesn't end there, folks. Guess what? While this person is walking around expending energy and using water trying to find wood and of course, preparing wood and actually building their shelter, in that time they've burned up additional calories. They've probably already eaten up the deficit the person with the tent and the sleeping bag had. Guess what? It doesn't end there. If you've ever tried to stay warm in a Mylar blanket, you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't really work, and that's even in moderate temperatures. If you're in 45 to mid-50s weather, you're going to be cold with a Mylar blanket. I'm sorry to say it, folks, or break the idea that an emergency blanket is going to keep you warm. No, they're not very effective at it. So if you decide to take that Mylar blanket route, you're going to have to build and maintain a fire the entire night. Now that proposes a different set of issues in if you're having to maintain a fire all evening, you're not going to be getting regenerative rest. However, the person with the sleeping bag in the tent, they've got their wind shelter, they're warm, they're not waking up every hour, they're actually getting regenerative rest. Now folks, that 10 pounds seems to be a pretty small price to pay for A, the convenience, B, the simplicity, and C, the ability to keep your body temperature at a constant level. Second big red flag that I see is water storage. I see most people with their bug out bags, they have a 32-ounce canteen or a 32-ounce stainless steel water bottle. Folks, this is not near enough water to hike out with into the wilderness. It doesn't work. Right now, I personally carry at least 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water on my back when I leave or decide to go hiking. Now, there are several ways to carry water with you. You have MSR that makes water bladders. You have Platypus that makes 70-ounce, foldable plastic water bladders. You have Camelbacks. So there really is no excuse to carry a small amount of water. Remember, that's the second thing that can kill you aside from exposure. Let's discuss the third red flag. The third red flag pertains to first aid. Now, I see most people in their bug out kits, they buy the off-the-shelf hiking backpack kit and think that they're ready to go take on the wilderness. Well, folks, this is not the case. Let's look at what is going to injure you most in a survival or wilderness situation. Your most likely injury is going to be mechanical. It's not going to be getting shot by rabid zombies. It's not going to be pulling your guts up and putting them back in your stomach and stitching yourself back up. More than likely, you're going to break an ankle, sprain an ankle, break a leg. That is going to be your #1 injury in the wilderness. Therefore, you should probably try to cater your first aid kit to suit those situations. I have gone away from the stock first aid kit and in fact started to go more towards athletic tape and ace bandages. Those are things that can help aid in repairing a mechanical injury. The second thing that I see most people do is they carry the little plastic strip Band-Aids. Folks, these are pretty much completely useless in the wilderness. The reason why is they aren't very durable, they don't last long, and they usually don't cover all that much as far as in terms of area of skin. From now on, basically if I'm dealing with small cuts, I carry the Active Flex Band-Aid, or otherwise they used to be known as the Compeed type of bandage. They actually are very, very durable and you leave them on for a week. Now, I don't see too many people carrying antibiotics. Antibiotics are very, very easy to get. They can serve a multitude of purposes and types of infections. So, when you're putting together your first aid kit for your bug out bag, think of mechanical injury, think of durability in your bandages, and think of taking antibiotics, because that is one thing that can save you from dehydration and all kinds of nasty little bugs. The fourth red flag that I see when people are constructing their bug out bags is everybody's reliance on having 26 different ways to start a fire. Folks, for the last 20 years, I have used the same fire starting method and it has never failed, wet, dry, or indifferent. You only need to carry 2 different ways of starting a fire. You don't need 20. You don't need to carry 30 different types of tinder. Like I said, stick with one thing and keep it simple. Right now, I don't know why people are carrying matches in a bug out bag. Matches are a one-time use item. They take up a lot of room, And frankly, if they get wet, they're pretty much worthless. Why don't you instead carry Bic lighters? Guess what, folks? A Bic lighter is that big. A pack of matches in a waterproof container is that big. However, the Bic lighter will start hundreds of fires. However, your pack of waterproof matches will start all of about 30. So doesn't it make a little bit more sense to probably carry Bic lighters? I mean, let's at least step into the 20th century when we're dealing with fire starting. The second thing that I carry is a magnesium fire starter. A magnesium fire starter can start fires in just about any conditions. And they're very, very easy to work with. Once again, folks, keeping it simple. Now, I don't just carry one lighter, I carry 3 lighters on me and at least 1 magnesium fire starter. Now, I also carry only one type of tinder. The reason why is I carry a lot of it, I carry several examples of it, and I know it starts every single time. So once again, folks, keeping it simple. Discuss the 5th red flag. If you see someone that is relying on their only light source and it's powered by batteries, they probably don't have any wilderness experience. The one thing that I don't want to do is basically have my only light source and my life relying on batteries. Folks, there are several companies that make shaker and crank flashlights. They also make crank radios. Guess what? If I'm in a bug out situation, or let's say a natural disaster or some sort of emergency, the last thing that I want to do is rely on batteries. So go out there, do some investigation. I personally carry Nightstar crank flashlights and shaker flashlights. A lot of their shaker flashlights are not available anymore, but they do have some new stuff that came out that seems to be pretty good. I haven't tested it myself, so I'm not going to endorse that side. But there are several companies you can get dynamo or crank powered electronics from. Thank you for watching. Look for some more videos from us very soon.